What are Australians often shocked or amazed while visiting America for the first time? People on Quora are sharing their experiences. Lindy, who lives in Australia since 1965, commented, "I'm a type 1 diabetic. When I visited the USA from Australia last October, I ensured I took sufficient diabetic testing stripes, insulin, etc. with me, and guarded my supplies with my life. On that visit, the box of diabetic stripes I used to test my blood sugar levels I took were defective, and I had to purchase a box of new ones. No worries. Walgreens and even Walmart all had them in stock, behind a counter, at around $117 US. The same product cost me $2.50 in Australia. Back home, I watched a TV program on Dateline, an international current affairs program. The episode profiled low-income US citizens who are diabetics, rationing their insulin so they could get it to last longer, and dying from the complications following consistently high blood sugar levels. One African-American mother on low income had her elder daughter die this way. She was driving several days over the border to Canada to buy insulin cheaper, so her remaining child didn't die from diabetes insulin rationing. There's a real problem in an advanced and developed countries like the USA. They can send astronauts to land on the moon 50 years ago, yet cannot provide affordable healthcare to its citizens and visitors," she added. "I also can't get my head around how every second television advertisements seem to be for pharmaceutical prescription medications, with voice-over advising viewers to prompt their doctor to prescribe it for them. In Australia, pharma adverts are non-existent on television." My third point is single-use plastic in the USA. At every hotel I stayed in for 2 weeks, the breakfast buffet only had single-use plastic items. There were plastic plates, knives, forks, spoons, juice cups, and cardboard cups for coffee. There were large garbage bins in the room, which hotel patrons dumped their trash in once they had finished breakfast. Multiply all those plastic breakfast utensils by many hundreds of hotel guests every day, by all of the budget hotels in the USA using single-use plastic, and you will have a lot of plastic waste going to landfill. Australia is also responsible for creating a lot of landfill waste, which could be recycled or avoided altogether. However, Australia is gradually becoming more educated and conscious of the need to recycle to preserve our planet for future generations. Dr. Laura Lane has joined the conversation with words. "I hate this crap. If a drug is being advertised on TV, it's new and therefore expensive. Patients don't generally know this. I will always try to treat my patients in ways that keep them as solvent as possible. Stop asking me for the expensive stuff. It works maybe 5% better than what I have you on." Olga Schremer agrees. "Exactly, the doctors in Canada despise those ads. They are illegal here, but we have access to US cable channels. Patients then go to their doctors demanding drug XYZ, even though they are contradicted with the pharmaceutical regimens." Here's a comment from a person with the username Nikki Shock. "My wife works for the company that manufactures the cartons for McDonald's here in the UK. Employees are required to bring reusable drinking cups, bottles, or can be provided with the company one by request. All lunch waste is compost. Any soft plastics from lunches and sandwich packets is used to make eco bricks. Carbon paper, etc. is also recycled." The site has over 600 employees. "It's also dramatically changed how my wife and I organize our recycling." Meanwhile, Ian Rowland just recently had his hormone injection that started on the pack, cost $1,080 Australian dollars, but it cost him only $6.50. And that's why he doesn't want to live in a place like America. Jason Harmon commented that the reason you can buy it at such a low price in your country is because the USA subsidized the rest of the world by making up difference in cost. And what do you think, guys? Please share in comments. Here's another angry thought from Alex Day. That's what he said. "I'm not even an American, but what is with Australians, Europeans bashing America every chance they get? The US has a lot to offer to tourists from every part of the world. Yet you're telling me you choose to focus only on the expensive healthcare system. Why even visit the country then?" On a side note, a friend of mine was visiting the US last year when he fractured his foot. The doctors from Penn Medicine operated on his foot and estimated the cost of the whole process to be around $40,000. My friend didn't have insurance to cover it. He was told that since he was an international traveler and didn't have insurance, his case would be treated as a charitable case. He was put in touch with some organization and eventually didn't have to pay a dime. Here's a small debate between Bill McDonald and Catherine Mulholland. Let's dive into this. The drug commercials don't undermine the diagnosis at all. Most of the drugs advertised are relatively new, and the people that will need them already have a diagnosis and know they have X disease. Many people only see their doctors once or twice a year. The ads let people know if there is a new drug for X, which can be a reason to see the doctor. Doctors can always say no if a drug is not appropriate. For 2019, there was 59 significant original new drugs approved by US. Note that many American voters do not want to pay for other people's healthcare. Bill McDonald concludes, to which Catherine replied, "So you're happy, Bill, to pay for unnecessary advertising, health insurance and huge health bureaucracy and still not be sure that the hospital wouldn't shunt you elsewhere because your case is labor-consuming to bother with. You pay for insurance that might be refused and other expenses you didn't know were not covered. And you may still end up with a medical bill so huge you lose your home and savings." In Australia, we pay for our healthcare and our taxes, usually 2.5%. The whole of that 2.5% of my taxes goes towards actual medical treatment and drugs. The figures show that at the end, you will pay many times more for corporate profits and bureaucracy than we pay for a few ill people that can't afford to pay taxes. The same drugs as you use are cheap here in Australia because the government negotiates with pharmaceutical companies for a bulk buy price. But Bill says he's still happy to pay the market price for drugs in a capitalistic society. As for your advertising is not needed, most experienced people will find that idea amusing, he adds. And the last comment goes to Brandon Patman, American born and raised. As an American, I get the idea that ads for prescriptions encourage people to get involved by asking their doctors to advise rather than passively letting the doctor do everything. My doctor says I have pre-diabetes, so I asked him about Ozempic. He explained to me various possible side effects and why he wants me to stick to Metformin. So that was just a few thoughts of Americans and Australians on Quora. Let us know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm gonna see you next week.